fasting and blood glucose. This is one of the most confusing topics for people who are new to fasting. You might think that if you don't eat, your blood sugar should go down. That seems logical, right? When you eat, blood sugar rises. So when you don't eat, it should fall. But reality is not that simple. Many people discover that their blood glucose actually goes up while fasting, especially in the early morning, and they ask themselves, what am I doing wrong? The answer might surprise you. There's nothing wrong with you at all. In fact, your body is working exactly the way nature designed it. This video is educational content about the science of fasting. If you're being treated for any medical condition, please talk to your doctor before changing your diet. Today we're going to explore how your body actually regulates blood glucose when you're not eating. Why blood sugar sometimes rises during a fast. Why you don't experience dangerous low blood sugar even after many hours without food. And what happens to people with diabetes when they fast. Science has some fascinating answers. Let's start with the basics. How does your body store energy in the first place? When you eat, your food gets digested and converted into glucose, a simple sugar. This glucose enters your bloodstream. Your blood carries it to every cell in your body. Some of it gets used immediately for energy. Your brain alone uses about 20% of your body's total energy, and it prefers glucose as its primary fuel. But if you eat more than your body needs right away, the extra glucose gets stored. Your body is smart. It doesn't waste energy. It saves it for later. There are two main storage locations. The first is your liver. Your liver stores glucose in a form called glycogen. Glycogen is basically glucose molecules linked together in long chains. An adult liver can hold about 100 to 120 grams of glycogen. That's enough to provide energy for roughly 12 to 24 hours, depending on how active you are. The second storage location is your fat tissue. When your glycogen stores are full, excess glucose gets converted into fat. This happens in the liver. Fat tissue is your body's long-term energy reserve. While glycogen might last a day, fat stores can last weeks or even months. Here's the important part. Your liver can reverse this process. When you stop eating, your liver breaks down glycogen and releases glucose back into your blood. This process is called glycogenolysis, which simply means breaking down glycogen. The liver takes those long chains of stored glucose, breaks them apart, and sends individual glucose molecules back into circulation. This is why you don't collapse the moment you skip a meal. Your body has prepared a backup supply. It's been doing this for as long as humans have existed. Now let's talk about what happens in the first 6 to 12 hours after your last meal. During these hours, your body starts to shift. Insulin is the hormone released when you eat. Your pancreas produces insulin in response to rising blood glucose. Insulin's job is to help glucose enter your cells and get stored. When you stop eating, insulin levels drop. At the same time, another hormone starts to rise. Glucagon. This hormone is also produced by your pancreas, but by different cells. Glucagon does the opposite of insulin. It sends a signal to your liver, release the stored glucose. It's time to use what we saved. Your liver listens. It starts breaking down glycogen into glucose and pumping it into your bloodstream. This keeps your blood sugar within a safe range, even though you're not eating. This is an automatic system, and it's remarkably precise. Your body constantly monitors blood glucose levels through specialized sensors. If glucose drops too low, glucagon increases and the liver releases more. If glucose gets too high, insulin increases and glucose gets pushed into cells or stored. It's a continuous balancing act that happens without you even thinking about it. During these first 6 to 12 hours of fasting, blood sugar usually stays pretty stable. Most people don't feel anything unusual, maybe a little hunger, but nothing dramatic. The liver is working quietly in the background to keep everything balanced. Now we come to an important question. Many people who fast are surprised to see their blood glucose go up instead of down. Why does this happen? The answer lies in a group of hormones called counter-regulatory hormones. These are hormones that work in opposition to insulin. While insulin lowers blood sugar, these hormones raise it. There are five main hormones in this group. First is glucagon, which we already discussed. When insulin goes down, glucagon goes up. It's the primary signal telling your liver to release stored glucose. Second is adrenaline, also called epinephrine. This is the fight or flight hormone. When you need quick energy, adrenaline surges. It causes rapid release of glucose from the liver to fuel your muscles and brain for immediate action. Third is noradrenaline or norepinephrine. This works similarly to adrenaline and helps mobilize energy stores. It also increases alertness and focus, which is why some people feel sharper during fasting. Fourth is cortisol, often called the stress hormone. Cortisol works more slowly than adrenaline, but its effects last longer. It promotes the creation of new glucose and helps maintain blood sugar over extended periods. And fifth is growth hormone. Despite its name, growth hormone in adults plays a major role in metabolism. It promotes fat burning and helps preserve muscle during fasting. It also contributes to maintaining blood glucose levels. All of these hormones share one effect. They raise blood glucose. They do this in different ways. Some stimulate the liver to release glucose from glycogen. Others stimulate the liver to create brand new glucose from other materials, a process called gluconeogenesis, which means making new glucose. Some reduce the ability of cells to absorb glucose, keeping more of it in the blood, where it's available for critical organs like the brain. When you fast, insulin drops. This removes the brake on these counter-regulatory hormones. They become more active. The result is that your liver releases more glucose into the blood. This is not a mistake. This is intentional design. Think about our ancestors thousands of years ago. They didn't have refrigerators or grocery stores. Going days without finding food was normal. If their blood sugar kept dropping every time they didn't eat, they would become weak. They couldn't hunt or gather, and they would die. So evolution created this system. When there's no food coming in, the body automatically releases stored energy. Blood glucose rises to fuel the brain and muscles, to keep you alert and strong enough to find your next meal. This is survival programming written into your DNA. If your blood glucose rises slightly during fasting, that's often a sign that your body is working correctly. It's releasing energy that you stored earlier. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Were you surprised to learn that your body has 5 different hormones working together to keep you functioning during a fast? Let me know in the comments. Drop a yes or no. Now let's talk about something that confuses many people who track their blood sugar. It's called the dawn phenomenon. Many people notice that their blood glucose in the early morning, right when they wake up, is higher than it was the night before, even though they didn't eat anything all night. They went to bed with normal blood sugar, slept for about 8 hours without eating, and woke up with higher numbers. To understand this, you need to know about circadian rhythm. Your body has an internal clock that controls many functions on a 24-hour cycle. Sleep and wake patterns, body temperature, hormone release, all of these follow daily rhythms. One of those functions is hormone release. Around 4 to 6 in the morning before you wake up, your body starts preparing for a new day. It releases more cortisol. Cortisol levels naturally peak in the early morning. It releases more growth hormone. It activates the sympathetic nervous system. All these changes serve the same purpose to provide you with energy before you even open your eyes. Your liver receives the signal and starts pumping glucose into your blood, so that when you wake up, you already have energy available to start your day. You're fueled up and ready to go. This is a legacy from our ancestors. When living in the wild, they needed to wake up with energy, ready to face dangers or search for food. There was no time for a slow start. The body learned to prepare fuel in advance. You don't need to eat breakfast immediately to have energy. Your body has already prepared it for you. The dawn phenomenon happens in everyone, not just people with health conditions. In healthy individuals, the rise is usually small, around 10 to 20 milligrams per deciliter. Insulin gets released to keep things under control. But in some people, especially those with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, this phenomenon is stronger. Blood glucose can rise significantly higher because their bodies don't produce enough insulin to compensate, or their cells don't respond well to insulin. This doesn't mean fasting is harmful. It means their body is releasing more stored glucose than normal. If you continue fasting beyond 12 to 24 hours, a major shift begins. The glycogen stores in your liver start running low. Remember, liver glycogen is limited. It usually lasts about 1 day. But your body doesn't stop there. It has backup systems. Your liver has a special ability. It can create new glucose from materials that aren't sugar. This process is called gluconeogenesis, which literally means making new glucose. Where do the raw materials come from? From amino acids, the building blocks of protein. From glycerol, a component of fat molecules. From lactate, a byproduct of glucose burning in muscles. Through gluconeogenesis, the liver can continue supplying glucose to the blood even after glycogen is depleted. This process becomes increasingly important as fasting extends beyond 24 hours. But there's something even more interesting. Alongside creating new glucose, your liver also starts producing a different type of fuel, ketones. Ketones are made from fat. When insulin is low and glucagon is high, your liver starts breaking down fat at an accelerated rate. Some of this fat gets converted into ketone bodies. Your brain normally runs on glucose, but your brain can also use ketones. And here's the key point: during extended fasting, the brain gradually shifts to using ketones instead of glucose. After several days of fasting, ketones can provide up to two-thirds of the brain's energy needs. This mechanism helped our species survive through long winters when food was scarce. Our ancestors could go weeks without eating, and their brains kept working because of ketones. A 1972 study by researcher Drenick demonstrated something remarkable. Subjects who had fasted for 60 days were injected with insulin to deliberately crash their blood glucose to around 20 milligrams per deciliter. At this level, a normal person would have seizures or lose consciousness. But these fasted subjects reported no symptoms at all. They felt completely normal. No shakiness, no confusion, no sweating. Why? Because their brains were being fueled by ketones, not glucose. Ketones had become the primary energy source for their brain. The low glucose didn't matter because the brain had switched to an alternative fuel. Now let's talk about people with diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes, since this is the most common form. In type 2 diabetes, the main problem is insulin resistance. Insulin is released, but the cells don't respond well to it. Glucose can't enter cells efficiently. As a result, glucose stays in the blood, causing high blood sugar. To compensate, the pancreas produces more insulin. It's trying harder to push glucose into resistant cells. But this actually makes insulin resistance worse over time. High insulin levels cause cells to become even more resistant. It's a negative cycle that keeps getting worse. How might fasting help break this cycle? When you don't eat, insulin drops to low levels. This gives your cells a break from constant insulin exposure. They get a chance to reset. Over time, insulin sensitivity may improve, meaning cells start responding better to insulin when it is present. At the same time, when fasting, your body is forced to use the glucose stored in your liver. If you're someone with a lot of accumulated glucose, which many people with type 2 diabetes have, fasting allows your body to burn through this excess. Some studies have shown that intermittent fasting can improve fasting blood glucose, reduce HbA1c, which measures long-term blood sugar control, and even help some people reduce their medication doses. But, and this is very important, if you're taking blood glucose, lowering medications, especially insulin or sulfonylureas, fasting can be dangerous. Why? Because the medication will continue lowering your blood glucose, while you have no food coming in to replenish it. The medication doesn't know you're fasting. It keeps working. This can lead to severe hypoglycemia, which is a medical emergency. Symptoms include confusion, shakiness, sweating, rapid heartbeat, and in severe cases, loss of consciousness. So if you have diabetes and want to try fasting, the first step is always to talk to your doctor. Your doctor can adjust your medication dosages to match your fasting schedule. They can also monitor your blood sugar to ensure safety. This is not optional. This is essential. Fasting is not forbidden for people with diabetes, but it needs to be done with medical supervision. When done correctly, it can be a useful tool for managing the condition. Before we wrap up, there are some important things you need to know. First is water and electrolytes. When fasting, you don't just lose calories. You also lose water and minerals. Low insulin causes your kidneys to excrete more sodium. Sodium pulls water with it. So drinking enough water and getting a little salt is important, especially during longer fasts. Second is warning signs. A little fatigue or hunger is normal. But if you experience any of the following symptoms, stop the fast and eat something. Severe dizziness that doesn't go away when you sit down. Rapid or irregular heartbeat. Confusion or difficulty thinking clearly. Persistent nausea and vomiting. This is your body telling you that's enough. Listen to it. Third is people who need special caution. Pregnant or breastfeeding women. People with a history of eating disorders. Those taking medications that require food. Children and teenagers who are still growing. Anyone with uncontrolled chronic conditions. Fasting is a powerful tool, but like any powerful tool, it needs to be used correctly. So we've completed our journey exploring fasting and blood glucose. What's the most important takeaway? Your body has an incredibly sophisticated blood glucose regulation system. When you stop eating, it doesn't panic. It begins releasing stored energy in a controlled manner. Multiple hormones coordinate with each other to keep you alert and functioning. If your blood glucose rises during fasting, that's usually a sign your body is working correctly. It's using what you've stored. It's not a problem. It's the solution. And if you fast long enough, your brain can even switch to a backup energy source, ketones, a survival system refined over thousands of generations of human evolution. If you know someone who tracks their glucose and often gets confused by morning readings, share this video with them. It might change how they think about their body. Have you ever noticed your blood sugar rising in the morning? Share your experience in the comments. I read every single one. Some doctors say elevated morning glucose is always a concern. Others argue it's just a natural circadian response that humans have had for millennia. What do you think? Should we worry about the dawn phenomenon, or is it just our body doing what it was designed to do? Let me know your thoughts below. If this video helped you understand your body better, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. See you in the next video.